Hey, and welcome to Aussievision. I'm Dale, and I'm joined by the lovely Z from the Aussievision team to talk about all things Dansk Melodi Grand Prix. Good morning, Z.
Good morning, Dale. Nice to join you.
Yes, yes. So look, we had the DMGP take place this morning. We did have a winner with Riley with his song. What did you think of his performance, and do you think he was a deserved winner?
Hmm. Well, as I said in the preview show, like earlier this week, it was my favorite studio song going in, and yeah, I was very pleased to see the performance on the night. I thought it was the most contemporary performance of the night. I really liked the pink and white color scheme, and I thought that his dances were probably the most effective use of dancers on the night. That I felt like they added meaning and energy to the whole performance. The whole song though was sort of covered a bit by those vocal distortions, so it's actually a bit difficult to judge whether he can actually sing, but I think in a way that might have been a clever strategy. And yeah, you could tell that it was a good performance because by the end of the evening the odds had sort of readjusted, so he was the clear favorite with the bookies, and then ultimately he won. Yeah, and I think it's great because he's actually from the Faroe Islands, which is a territory of Denmark, and they've actually long wanted to have a Eurovision representative, maybe of their own even. So it's nice in the way that they're being represented through Denmark at Eurovision. So all in all, I'm very pleased with the result. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great modern pop song. We've talked about it before about little kind of Troye Sivanni sort of sound to it all, and I think when people are listening to the soundtrack of Eurovision leading up to it, they'll really enjoy this on the soundtrack, and I think it does sound good. I thought his performance was good tonight. It was good. It was right.
Yeah.
It kind of, as I totally agree, the chorus was more backing than actually his vocal. I could barely hear his vocal, but ultimately it's about winning this one. And then even at Eurovision in the semi-finals, it's just about getting through the tally vote. So actually, it doesn't matter if the jury are going to punish you or not. And the jury didn't punish him here. When it got down to the final three, he comfortably won the jury score. So I think they went for that song and the general performance. I still think they can make more of the performance. I love his music video and the tightness of the color use. And I thought a little bit came through with that green at the end and at the start with the heart. But I thought in the middle, it was all just a bit dancey in general. And I was like, I wasn't really feeling it for a little bit in the middle, but I thought he ended well.
Yeah, I think so too. It's interesting though with the televote because the televote was actually a bit even Stevens, but he didn't actually
Mm.
win the televote in Denmark. So it'll be interesting now, as you said, with 100% televoting at Eurovision, will he do better with Europe, or will it, be a bit difficult for him? But I guess we'll wait and see. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, let's talk about second place. Nicholas Sonner with Freedom, as you mentioned, won the public vote, was second in the jury. If that jury was tighter, he could have been going. What did you think of Nicholas's kind of rock song?
Well, I thought it was, yeah, really good. I in the preview video also picked him to go through to the top three, and he really delivered on the night as well. I think he's, Denmark's answer to the blind side, I think. I really enjoyed again that black and orange color scheme, the light show with those intense graphics, very effective. And I really liked his sort of banter and interaction with the crowd. He's a true rocker in the nature of that phrase, I think. He got the whole crowd chanting. It was a really good song. Yeah, I could see why it won the televote. It's really one of those songs that's almost, very captivating, transcends, demographics sort of, and just very memorable. So, yeah, I thought he was well deserved second place. Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, I kind of feel sorry for the Danes because they never take a risk, and I feel like for them, this was them taking a risk by voting it. I don't think it's that risky because it's quite, soft, melodic rock. But for them, this is a bit of outside their comfort zone for voting for it. But ultimately, it didn't get through. So I would have liked to see it get through, just for the public to be rewarded with a little bit of a risk there. But I thought he did a great job. I think from the very start, it wasn't one of my favorites, but I totally agree. This always had a chance to make that top three as long as he did a really good performance, which he did. So yeah, good runner up. The other one in the third place there, a bit of a surprise to many, but I feel like this is something the Danes kind of like to go for. It was Mickey Skill with his song. Were you surprised to see in the top three?
I guess maybe studio version I would have been, but then the performance on the night, I actually predicted that that would get to the top three along with the other two. So, yeah, it was a really nice performance. Again, the nice graphics and color scheme. It's a good solid pop song, something that Denmark is good at sort of sending. But I think the most important thing was he sang in tune. Some of the others, their vocals were flatter than Denmark itself. Like some of them were just
Ooh.
shocking on the night. So I think the fact that he sang in tune, it was a nice performance. He's a good-looking man. I think, yeah, something that Danes would really sort of barrack for. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought if he did a good job of this, that this is something that they'd eat up. It's really good. It was kind of twee and lovely and nice. And I actually enjoyed the performance. I think he did a really good job. So I wasn't shocked to see him make that top three.
Yeah.
I must say, before we get to any of the other songs, the whole process about their revealing the results was really quite convoluted and not easy to follow. Did you find that?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really help that I don't speak a word of Danish, so I was like, okay, what are these preliminary results? Yeah, it was, I think, a bit drawn out, and the show ran overtime, which is really surprising for a Nordic selection. It usually runs like clockwork with the Nordic countries, and I don't know about you, Dale, but on my end, I actually got geo-blocked because it ran overtime. So
Uh-huh.
I wish they'd sort of got rid of that and just ran to schedule. Yeah, I think that was unnecessary. I think short and snappy is probably the way to go for them in the future. Yeah.
Totally. And yeah, I got geo blocked as well. Like if you're gonna have the lift the geo block, give at least another half hour either side, just in
Yeah.
case. It's always better. I had to find some random live YouTube thing where people were reacting live to it. So it was just all this talking over the bub, but at least I got to see the result.
Yeah.
Um, any of the other songs that you want to call out from the evening for either their kind of great performance or maybe it did live up to the hype?
Well, I think again, I'm going to talk about Egypt because it was like one of the favorites going in. It was what I expected, sort of that mystical forest background, like in Twilight, lots of use of the smoke machine. I will say though, yeah, it just wasn't particularly like exciting, I think. And the major bad thing was those dresses. Like, if those are their wedding dresses, they should get a refund because that was just atrocious, like bad, bad. But they sang in tune, which was good. Yeah, I think not a great night for the girls, unfortunately. I think Maya, her vocals were not very good, and Maya and Mariah, their costumes as well. Like, I don't know where DR's budget is, but like they must have spent it on the guys because the guys are great, but the girls not so much. I will quickly mention as well, Soren. We liked it a lot on the Aussievision team, and I think he did a really good job. I like the very intimate performance with the close-ups to emphasize that sort of vulnerable nature of the song. And yeah, he looked really classy. So yeah, those are sort of my thoughts of the other one.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with the Asia. I thought I think they sang in tune, but there was very little power in their voice, and it just felt a bit flat. Again, and yeah, I'm not sure about those dresses. It kind of gave me less wedding, maybe Holy Communion
Yeah.
after party or something. It was very odd, and it was almost this like Vaseline filter over the top. I just the whole thing,
Mm,
no. Yeah, Maya wasn't sort of really sold on that, but she did an okay job. Maria was pretty good, but yeah, look, I have to say I was really disappointed with Soren not in his performance. I thought it was fantastic. I mean, I've been a big fan of this song. It's my 12 points. I thought the Danes would go for this because I thought he did a really lovely job of it, and ultimately he didn't kind of really do that well at all. He barely got mentioned in those kind of when they went around to any of the top three. So, oh well, obviously I enjoyed it, but and I saw a lot of people online from Twitter and stuff who weren't into the song really enjoy the performance and put it as their
yeah.
first. But oh well, we don't decide, the Danes do. So that's all it is. But I'm a little heartbroken about that.
Yeah,
So
me too.
yes, breaking
Mm.
my heart. My heart is broken now, but I'm pleased for Riley. Cool. Well, thanks so much for giving us your thoughts, Z. It was another really interesting Dansk Melodi Grand Prix for another year. So until 2024.
Yeah, sounds good. See you soon.
See ya.
Bye.